Welcome back to The Jump. All right, let's get to the Lakers here. It's something I talk about just as much, if not more, than MMA in the MMA world right now. They made their first move in what will be a busy offseason by extending a qualifying offer to second-year guard Talen Horton-Tucker. Also, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry both have the Lakers on their radar ahead of free agency. So, Ramona, what are realistic expectations for the Lakers this offseason?
Well, the step with Talen Horton-Tucker is that they had to do that so that he becomes a restricted free agent. The question is, how far are they willing to go in terms of extending him and how much money they're going to pay him? Because other teams can sign him to a deal which would be very uncomfortable for the Lakers in the way that they backload that contract and the way they set up the contract. DeMar DeRozan, LA kid, not surprising to me at all that he'd be interested in the Lakers. Same thing with Kyle Lowry, but for how much? Because it's difficult for them to pay anything more than the way this works. The salary cap math worth for the Lakers is if Montrezl Harrell picks up his player option, he has until July 31st to do that. If he opts into his deal, they've used their mid-level exception, which
it's
means
about nine-ish.
Yeah, nine-ish. Yeah. They can't pay anybody more than $5.9 million. That's a pretty significant pay cut for either of those two guys, which means they would likely have to acquire them via sign and trade. Now, Alex Caruso, unrestricted free agent. Andre Drummond, unrestricted free agent. Dennis Schroeder, unrestricted free agent. Now, the Lakers tried to keep Schroeder. Obviously, during the year, they offered him several different contracts. He thinks he can get more. My understanding, I don't know that he can elsewhere. I'm not sure where the home would be for him elsewhere. You've heard New York, Chicago. I don't know if that will materialize in the way that we thought it might during the year. And so the Lakers may end up getting a discount to keep Schroeder. I think they have other opportunities in terms of trades lined up that they can push those buttons. This is what you do in a front office. You call around the league, you have things set up, and decide which doors to walk through. So the first point where we find out what the Lakers are going to do this offseason comes at the draft. I think they have a couple of deals that they could potentially move forward on to acquire either a point guard or help around the roster. But Rob Pelinka and his staff have been working. Last year was obviously a disappointment for the Lakers and the Heat, the two teams that went to the finals. And they have ambitions to get right back there. If you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis on your roster, you are a championship team. So I expect the Lakers to be active. I think of the two you mentioned, DeRozan and Lowry, I think Lowry is more of an option than DeRozan just because he doesn't seem to fit. He doesn't necessarily fit Toronto's long-term plans anymore. Well,
and real quick before Perk goes, they need a secondary playmaker, right? Like, I don't think there's any question about that. So Lowry fits that more so than DeRozan. Perk, what do you think the expectation should be for the Lakers here?
Well, first of all, the Lakers need to be crying tears of joy that Dennis Schroeder didn't take the extension after the way he played this postseason, and they need to be trying to find a home from him, either with a sign of trade or get off his salary. And then next, they need to get rid of Kyle Kuzma. Look, Kyle Kuzma is just not going to figure out a way how to play winning basketball. I'm tired of watching them play. I know guys around the league and on that team are tired of being a part of what he's been bringing to the table. But long as you have LeBron James and long as you have Anthony Davis, you can fill in those spots. Look, we have to remember, both of those guys were not healthy. We also have to remember that before LeBron James got injured, he was playing at an MVP level. Yes, at year 18. I believe that Anthony Davis is going to come back on a mission. Matter of fact, I'm predicting right now that he's going to be the one to win MVP next season. He sees all the slander. He's hearing everything about Giannis. He's very quiet at the moment. And from what I'm hearing, he's working his tail off behind the scenes. So, look, the Lakers got to do something, but I would not panic if I'm a Lakers fan because you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You could fill in the pieces. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry will fit just well. If you could sign and trade and the Wizards would take on Kuzma and Dennis Schroeder and you get back Russell Westbrook, then do your thing. What happened? What's that, George? I can't see.
I wrote it down, so that way we have a record of this. You said AD MVP.
Yeah,
it says
fine.
Perk AD MVP.
Yeah. I believe so.
Okay. I just want to make sure we document this stuff with you.
Well, we
folks.
have to always remember who came into the league at the same time, who won, who was up for shoe deals at the same time. Giannis and Anthony Davis have a lot in common there, and Anthony Davis actually won a title before Giannis did. Okay, let's remember that. But Giannis got a signature shoe deal before AD, and there's a competitiveness. So I know what you're talking about there, Perk.
Yeah.
And when you didn't do it, and you heard all this year, Anthony Davis obviously didn't have a good finish to the year. He didn't have a good year in general. So if he's motivated, that's all the Lakers need to hear. That's all they need to hear. LeBron and AD is enough as long as they're motivated and healthy.
We'll see. It is going to be a fascinating offseason, as I continue to say that throughout.